What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, whatever time you are tuning in. This is going to be my first reading that I'm going to do for my series or channel, whatever you want to call it, J.K.Forreal Reading. So this one is probably not one I didn't really have any interest in reading or knowledge about, really. But I've been seeing a lot about Project 2025, and I don't know much about it. I've just seen a couple video clips. I've seen what people are posting on Facebook, and at least for my circle of friends, colleagues, family, and everything, Project 2025 seems to be a bad thing, but I don't know, and I guess in a way I want to do something different, in the sense that instead of me just relying on everyone else to say their opinions and I base mine off of that, or watching the news or watching social media or whatever, I want to I just want to read it, and I'm just gonna do that, and I want to kind of take from it whatever I get from it or whatever. If any of y'all say that y'all read it at least front to back, you might be lying, because it's like almost 1,000 pages long, and I think, whether I agree with it or not, which I don't know because I haven't really read anything, and the fact that it's more of a conservative thing, I wouldn't necessarily consider myself conservative, but I think something that we should all strive to do is, and again, I'm including myself in this because, that's why I'm here, but that's why I'm doing this now. We need to make sure we're doing our due diligence and, reading reputable sources, and making sure that we understand, what's actually happening, and not just going off of what everyone else is saying. It's very easy to just get, I guess nowadays it's easy for us to be manipulated, from the social media, from the news, and all of that. So I'm kind of rambling a bit, my apologies, but so I'm going to be reading, hopefully I get through it all, to be honest, because it's long as anything, but so I'm going to be reading the Project 2025. It's titled Mandate for Leadership, The Conservative Promise. And for this first video, I'm going to break it up into separate videos because, again, it's dumb long. But for this first video, I'm basically just going to read it's a note on Project 2025, which I'm going to assume just kind of maybe summarizes what is going to be discussed throughout it. All right, here we go. So here we go. All right, here we go. So the 2025 Presidential Transition Project. A note on Project 2025. You like how I'm articulating? We want you. The 2025 Presidential Transition Project is the conservative movement's unified effort to be ready for the next conservative administration to govern at 12 o'clock noon, January 20th, 2025. Welcome to the mission. By opening this book, you are now a part of it. Indeed, one set of eyes reading these passages will be those of the 47th President of the United States, and we hope every other reader will join in making the incoming administration a success. History teaches that a president's power to implement an agenda is at its apex during the administration's opening days. To execute requires a well-conceived, coordinated, unified plan and a trained and committed cadre? Question mark, CADRE. Let me know if you know what that means. I'm going to look it up later. A committed cadre of personnel to implement it. In recent election cycles, presidential candidates normally began transition planning in the late spring of election year or even after the party's nomination was secured. That is too late. The federal government's complexity and growth advance at a seemingly logarithmic rate every 4 years. For conservatives to have a fighting chance to take on the administrative state and reform our federal government, the work must start now. The entirety of this effort is to support the next conservative president, whoever he or she may be. In the winter of 1980, the fledgling Heritage Foundation handed to President-elect Ronald Reagan the inaugural Mandate for Leadership. This collective work by conservative thought leaders and former government hands, most of whom were not part of Heritage, set out policy prescriptions, agency by agency, for the incoming president. The book literally put the conservative movement and Reagan on the same page, and the revolution that followed might never have been, save for this band of committed and volunteer activists. With this volume, we have gone back to the future and then some. It's not 1980. In 2023, the game has changed. The long march of cultural Marxism through our institutions has come to pass. The federal government is a behemoth weaponized against American citizens and conservative values, with freedom and liberty under siege as never before. The task at hand to reverse this tide and restore our republic to its original moorings is too great for any one conservative policy shop to spearhead. It requires the collective action of our movement. With the quickening approach of January 2025, we have 2 years and one chance to get it right. So apparently this John is a couple years old. Project 2025, it's crazy that we're just now hearing about it. I'm sure people were aware of it, but now this year we're really tuning into it. Project 2025 is more than 50 and growing of the nation's leading conservative organizations joining forces to prepare and seize the day. The axiom goes, personnel is policy, and we need a new generation of Americans to answer the call and come to serve. This book is functionally an invitation for you, the reader, Mr. Smith, Mrs. Smith, and Miss Smith, to come to Washington or support those who can. Our goal is to assemble an army of aligned, vetted, trained, and prepared conservatives to go to work on day one to deconstruct the administrative state. The project is built on 4 pillars. Pillar 1, this volume puts in one place a consensus view of how major federal agencies must be governed and where disagreement exists, brackets out these differences for the next president to choose a path. Pillar 2 is a personnel database that allows candidates to build their own professional profiles and our coalition members to review and voice their recommendations. These recommendations will then be collated and shared with the president-elect's team, greatly streamlining the appointment process. Pillar 3 is the Presidential Administration Academy, an online educational system taught by experts from our coalition. For the newcomer, This will explain how the government functions and how to function in government. For the experienced, we will host in-person seminars with advanced training and set the bar for what is expected of senior leadership. In Pillar 4, the playbook, we are forming agency teams and drafting transition plans to move out upon the President's utterance of "So help me God." As Americans living at the approach of our nation's 250th birthday, we have been given much. As conservatives, we are as much required to steward this precious heritage for the next generation. On behalf of our coalition partners, we thank you and invite you to come join with us at project2025.org. Paul Dans, Director, Project 2025. So I'm not here to really give my opinion. I don't, to be honest, I don't really, at least I don't think I really follow the left or right or whatever. Like, I don't really think too much into all that. So, again, I don't have any like real opinions on this. I just want to read and try to understand what the heck they're talking about or what their plans are. Because if it does go into effect, it's probably good to know. Whether it's good or bad. So that's just kind of where I'm at with this. Like I said, this is just kind of the first video of the book. Looking at all of the different chapters, I'm probably going to do maybe like a chapter. Maybe I can do like a chapter a day or something. I mean, at this rate, it'll take me. It might take me like 2 months. So probably not the best one to start with. But yeah. So that's that. That's the note on Project 2025. This is the first video. Keep an eye out for the next video, which will be the foreword, A Promise to America. Thanks. Peace.